though he's only had 23 professional fights, is 36 years old. He didn't turn professional until age 29. He had an amateur career following prison time as a teenager, following a lot of difficulties in his early life coming out of Haiti, and as a result, he comes to this stage of his career at age 36, but clearly in his prime. Bellew has the more traditional background. He's 5 years younger at 31. He's 4 inches taller. But he gives up an inch and a half in arm length, measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, to the guy who's 4 inches shorter than he is. Stevenson was a half pound under the 175-pound weight limit. Bellew was right on it yesterday, and tonight, unofficially, they're just about even at 189 and 190. Now here comes Tony Bellew, and he's walking into the lion's den, because this is, as you pointed out, Roy Jones, Adonis Stevenson's house. Some fighters can find themselves to be tremendously motivated by the opposing crowd's noise and excitement. He's going to hear it here tonight.
Yeah, he's going to hear it. It's going to remind him of that press conference where he heard all that scuffling and saw people trying to get to him. He's going to feel like that again. But now we'll find out what kind of person he really is. Can he stand up under this type of pressure?
Bellew is from Liverpool in England. Liverpool is famous for producing hard guys, but he's a nice guy. We can tell from our meeting yesterday, Max, that he's the kind of guy you'd like to have on your football club or playing snooker with you in the local pub.
And he has a future as a the boxing analyst, I think. He's an introspective guy, a cerebral guy, a guy who's into the history of boxing, a big fan of the sport. And he has everything a fighter needs to be successful, except maybe a little speed, Roy. If he had a little more speed, let's put it this way, it wouldn't hurt.
Prior to the fight, during referee's instructions in his dressing room, Bellew said one of the most interesting things I've ever heard a fighter say to a referee during referee's instructions. He said, "Hey ref, if I go down when I'm on the canvas, my whole life is at stake here. Give me every chance. Please don't count me out on the first knockdown. Give me a chance to come back." Roy, what does that tell us?
That's telling the referee, I'm not here to give a fight away. I want to go out. I don't want to go out when I'm capable of going more. Give me my chance. Give me every inch of my chance.
And more it says about Bellew. He recognizes the risks in fighting, in professional prize fighting. He knows he's going to be hit. There's no avoiding it. He's been hit. He's been dropped. But he's always gotten up. Stevenson is a tremendous puncher. Sometimes that reputation combined with fighting in your own hometown can lead to a quick stoppage, and Bellew recognizes that possibility and wants to avoid it as much as possible.
Meanwhile, Adonis Stevenson was the last notable fighter to team up with and to be trained by the late, great Emanuel Stewart. Emanuel Stewart passed on before seeing his dreams for Adonis realized under the direction of the new trainer, Emanuel's nephew, Javon Sugar Hill, who guided Stevenson to the championship-winning knockout of Chad Dawson last June.
Emanuel Stewart, before he passed away, he told me I'm gonna beat Chad Dawson. He predict everything, you know. He said I'm gonna become a big star.
Adonis Superman Stevenson.
Before I go into the fight, I got in my room a picture of Emanuel, and me and Sugar, the nephew, we look at the picture and we said, I'm gonna bring you the title. My motivation was on the top.
Down goes Dawson on a spectacular left cross.
This was a great moment for me, an exciting moment. Very happy. You know, Emanuel, I know he was here with me. I said, thank you, Emanuel. I know you see the fight, and I know you were laughing now.
Earlier this afternoon, Adonis Stevenson ordered from room service at his hotel enough ice to fill a bathtub to the brim. And he immersed himself up to the neck in ice, taking a full-body ice bath, he says, to wake himself up for the fight. Roy, he could have accomplished the same thing simply by stepping outside here, where the temperature is -11 centigrade, but I've never heard of a fighter taking a full ice bath on the day of a fight.
Well, different fighters do different things to get themselves loose and get themselves to where they can go perform. For him, he probably felt like he's a little sluggish. I mean, he gained 14.5 pounds, so that could be a little sluggishness on him. More than likely, he used the ice to shock him, to get his muscles ready, and to wake himself up because he knows what he's up against.
And now he comes in with incomparable incentive to ice Tony Bellew.
You know, he has the one loss on his record, Stevenson, to
Darnell Boone.
Darnell Boone,
which he later avenged.
He avenged it. Darnell Boone lost a very close split decision to Kovalev, by the way. The only 8-round fight Kovalev was ever in. He knocked down Andre Ward. He just drew with an undefeated prospect today. You know, if you take Darnell Boone lightly, which Stevenson did, you're gonna lose. That's the only mark on his record.
And Tony Bellew was all over that in the build-up to the fight, saying, hey, if he got knocked out by a guy who's won 20 and lost 20, obviously he's capable of going down against mediocrity. I'm not mediocre. Fascinating that Bellew would say that because he's been knocked down 5 times in his career. And now let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer to start this one off.
Mesdames et messieurs, c'est l'événement principal de la soirée. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening, presented by Groupe Yvan Michel and Interbox in association with Matchroom Sport. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship of the World, the Championnat du Monde, sanctioned by Régie des Accords des Courses et Jeux and the World Boxing Council. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring the fight, les 3 juges, Ray Danseco, Frank Garza, and Jack Woodburn, and inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, Michael Griffin. And now, the officials, ils sont prêts. The fighters, ils sont prêts. Mesdames et messieurs, êtes-vous prêts? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Mesdames et messieurs, from Quebec City, Canada, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner with his trainer, Mike McAllister, official weight, 175 pounds. Wearing blue trimmed with white, professional record, 20 victories, including 12 wins by knockout, with only 1 defeat and 1 even. From Liverpool, Merseyside, England, the WBO #1 ranked challenger in the world, Tony "Bomber" Bellew. And fighting out of the red corner with his trainer, Sugar Hill, wearing Kronk gold and weighing officially 174 1/2 pounds. As a professional, 22 victories, including 19 knockouts, only 1 defeat. Originally from Haiti, but now living, training, and fighting out of Longueuil and Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the reigning, defending WBC Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, le Champion du Monde, Adonis Superman Stevenson.
Clear the room, clear the room. Go head out, girls. All right, men, I gave you my instructions. Listen to me, protect yourselves. God bless us all. Touch gloves now, man. You're boxing at the bell. Go ahead and touch gloves.
That was a world-class stare down. Stevenson taps gloves at the end like, okay. Adonis Stevenson has injected, along with Kovalev, real excitement into this light heavyweight division. He said, I don't think I'm going into the fight to go 12 rounds. I'm coming to knock you out. Bellew has never been knocked out, been dropped, but has always gotten up.
Well, the first fight ended so quickly, I never did get a chance to go to unofficial ringside scorer Steve Weisfeld to get a rundown on the referee, but we know now that he knew enough to stop the fight. What about Michael Griffin, the referee, this time around, Steve?
Jim, Mike Griffin is a top referee who's refereed Stevenson's previous 3 fights. I've worked with Mike before. He keeps his cool and knows when to stop fights. It's interesting, when he gives a warning, it's often for the fouled boxer to hear. The point being, I've got your back, don't retaliate.
Kovalev is a straight-on, swarming offensive fighter. Stevenson is far more selective. He moves. In fact, Tony Bellew called him basically a back foot counterpuncher, called him Pernell Whitaker with a big punch. That's not bad, is it, Max?
Well, he meant it as an insult. He said that HBO, that we're building him as Mike Tyson, he's really Whitaker with a big punch, which is kind of like saying you're building a guy up to be an all-star, a Dr. J, but he's really Michael Jordan with a better three-point shot.
Bellew said Stevenson really only has one weapon. That's his big left hand. It's a pretty good weapon. I think his right hand is also dangerous.
It's a dang good weapon, and his right hand, to me, is just as dangerous as his left.
Earlier this year, against DeVoris Cloud, he was able to slide, move, stay out of distance where Cloud couldn't get at him, made Cloud miss, and then made him pay triple. Here he drives Bellew back with the first straight left hand he's thrown.
Bellew's fighting pretty smart here, though, Jim. He's making Stevenson come to him. He's using his tall height to stay away from the big punches of Stevenson. And this is good for him, but how long will he stay away?
Well, we talked about this possibility that instead of being aggressive and coming forward, as he's done in many of his fights, Bellew would stay back and force Stevenson to be the aggressor because of his belief that Stevenson has been thriving on counterpunching against opponents who weren't smart enough. And Bellew is indeed following the formula of making Stevenson lead, but Stevenson seems to be doing all right with it so far.
Yeah, he's doing very good with it. He's staying behind that shoulder. He's not trying to get too much. He's fighting very smart, taking his time, picking his shots, and that's very smart for Stevenson.
And Bellew's not fighting scared. He's aware and honest about Stevenson's incredible punching power, but he says that's part of the game. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hit hard.
And, I mean, he said that in the meet yesterday, you know. Like we said, the only thing that he was lacking in the meet was the speed.
The question he thinks for Stevenson is fine. He's going to hit me hard, maybe even knock me down. What is he going to do when I get up and hit him back?
Bellew landed a couple of right hands over the top in the last 15 seconds of round number 1.
If he gets the court, he's trying to react, and you're a whole step behind. Make him bite before he gets there, make him go which way you want him to go. Simple as that. Don't just be standing in front of him all the damn time. You just should stay right here down the middle and just standing there. Keep doing your step to the side, left to right, controlling him which way he go. And use your speed. Get on up.
CompuBox numbers for round 1 will show you what we mean about Bellew having decided not to be the aggressor, to stay back and make Stevenson come to him. Adonis was 12 of 38 in the first round. Bellew only 5 of 25. Let's see if the pattern holds in round 2.
Each questions the other's stamina. Bellew believing he has an advantage the longer the fight goes, and Stevenson feels the exact same way.
Well, certainly Bellew has gone the 12-round distance more than has Stevenson. But on the other hand, Adonis has knockouts in the 9th and the 12th round, so he's shown that he can carry his power all the way to the end of the fight.
Yeah, and what you see Bellew here, he just showed you that he's willing to trade with Stevenson if he has to try to land a shot. I think part of that comes from the fact that as an amateur, he was a heavyweight. He won a lot of tournaments as an amateur heavyweight.
I don't know when's the last time, Roy, that I've seen a 6'3" light heavyweight.
Ishmael Shalak.
Oh, that's right. Exactly right.
But you see where Stevenson, not that he's exclusively fighting off the back foot, but Bellew's right. He doesn't rush in. He does fight off the back foot at times and make to make his opponent miss and counter.
Well, Bellew is making him miss, but Bellew is not countering because he doesn't want to run into a big shot.
Interesting style fight, and as you watch it, you can speculate that if Bellew were fighting Sergey Kovalev instead of Adonis Stevenson, he might be adopting exactly the opposite tactic to that which he's using right now, because it's two entirely different style prospects. Good right hand by Bellew, and he tries to double up with it.
Stevenson's thought about the way he fights off the back foot or front foot is that when Emanuel Stewart got his hands on him, he didn't have good balance. Emanuel fixed that, and by having better balance, being able to fight off with his weight on his front or back foot, it's balanced him out as a fighter. He can box, he can punch, he can be aggressive, he can counter.
One thing Bellew's doing by staying back and moving is taking away Adonis Stevenson's body punching game.
Yeah, he's taking away his body punching game and a lot of his power punching game because he's making him continue to step around to his right. That's the only chance Stevenson has a chance to land power is right there when Bellew be still like that. And
Bellew missed with the right hand. Stevenson landed a left.
Yeah, Bellew just took a really good shot from Stevenson.
I thought Bellew landed something, a left hook in that exchange too, but it's hard to see from this angle.
Round two coming to a close. Next Saturday night, Boxing After Dark delivers a little something for everyone as Guillermo Rigondeaux, one of the best pure boxers in the sport, puts his skills on display against former titleist Joseph Agbeko. Also that night, hard-charging James Kirkland makes his ring return and is in tough against undefeated Glenn Tapia.
You need to keep your foot on the outside. You're just drifting in. Okay. You're just drifting in a little bit. On the jab and I know, but you're just drifting in. That's all you got caught there with that backhand. Yeah. Okay. Keep your foot on the outside.
Here's he told it Bellew missed Stevenson with the overhand right. Stevenson slipped the punch, split to his right. To his left, threw a beautiful overhand left, but it didn't get extended. Is the reason I think Bellew took it so well.
Box. So this one's been a thinking man's fight so far, as Bellew's thrown only 53 punches in the first two rounds, trying to limit the number of exposures he experiences against Stevenson's counterpunching big shot game.
The fact that Bellew is still here and making this a pretty even looking fight, although Stevenson is winning it on work rate, but he's making it a good fight, shows you that he really did his homework and he studied his opponent very well before coming here.
Chad Dawson was out with one punch. Tavares Cloud seemed demoralized by his career by the time he got into the ring with Stevenson. Bellew has shown up to win.
Yes,
whether or not he can pull that off is another story, but he's not coming to lie down.
No, he wasn't. We knew that from the fighter meeting, though. He told us exactly what he thought he would need to do to win it. We just wasn't really sure if he could pull that off.
The question is, does he think he can win it like this, or is this part of a strategy to get into the later rounds with Stevenson? Because he ain't going to win it like this.
No, but I think his thing is he wants to see what happens if he can put a glove on Stevenson really good. He feels like the Boone situation is something that he can benefit from. I don't know if he's punching like Boone, but...
Sugar Hill has been effusive in praising Stevenson for his growing ring intelligence, saying the best thing about Stevenson this year in the gym has been the rate at which he's learning and how much smarter he's becoming as a fighter. This fight is going to be a test of that ring intelligence.
It sure is, and Stevenson already has a nosebleed, so Bellew had to land that right hand at some point.
He's got a bloody nose, and he's in with an opponent who's throwing back.
Stevenson drives Bellew back with the left hand to the forehead. The trickle of blood continues onto the upper lip of Adonis Stevenson.
Oh, good shot.
And this time, he lands solidly with the left hand and knocks Bellew's head back. And you're beginning to see some of the power of Adonis Stevenson. Gets to Bellew's body with that body shot. And another strong body shot. Crowd's beginning to warm up. They're nervously expectant, waiting to see Stevenson be Superman.
So far, it's 1s and 1-2s. And Stevenson, now he's starting to put some punches together.
He's on the hunt. But he got to be careful while he's on the hunt.
Landing left hands. He's landed about 4 solid ones in this round. There's another one. And you can see the thunder that Adonis Stevenson is able to bring as Bellew's head snaps back once again. Just missed with that one. Round 3 coming to a close. Adonis Stevenson seemed to wake up after tasting the blood from his own nose.
Just keep cutting the man off, fainting, and you know where he's gonna be at, okay? But you gotta throw more than one punch. You keep trying to throw the right hand, the left hand, he blocking the left hand. Start shooting, change the rhythm up on the punches. Every shot ain't gotta be the hard shot. The shot that's gonna count, make that the hard shot. You got it? Pop, 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 bang, bang. Real simple.
The body shot. Starting. Get back on the legs again now, yeah? Back on them legs again, yeah? And get your jab out. Okay, come on, breathe.
Move that head.
He see Adonis fainting and coming with that left hand. He fainted down low, came with a straight left hand up top. Then he came out with the jab to the body with a beautiful left hand up top. And those are 2 of his best punches of the fight so far. Usually those punches leave guys on their backs.
In the first 2 rounds, it wasn't exactly a hot start for Adonis Stevenson, but now, after 3 rounds, Stevenson has landed 27 out of 52 power shots. In other words, landing more than 50% of his power shots. Bellew, 13 out of 45. And Steve Weisfeld, how do you have it through 3?
Jim, I have it 30-27 for Stevenson. I agree that Bellew fought well defensively in 1 and 2, just not enough offense. Stevenson landed more punches and the harder punches. That's a good formula to win a round. So after 3-0 Stevenson.
Now it's becoming more of a fight, and Bellew's getting more and more exposed to the possibility of getting hit with Stevenson's big power.
You hear the work that Sugar Hill did in Stevenson's corner. His trainer said, look, you're just looking for one punch, you're throwing the left hand, change the rhythm up. And I wonder if boxing fans feel as I do. The cadence, Sugar Hill is Emmanuel Stewart's nephew. There's a lot of Emmanuel Stewart there, and along with the boxing wisdom, it's nice to hear in a corner.
He doesn't get quite as nervous and high intensity as Emmanuel.
Doesn't curse as much.
I don't know. We just don't have a microphone on him.
That could be coming.
Oh, good shot.
Bellew's fighting back, and down goes Stevenson,
From a hook
and
to
the
the head.
referee's going to rule it a slip.
Yeah, but it was a hook to the back of the head. That should have been ruled a knockdown, Jim.
Referee Michael Griffin called it a slip. Stevenson might have gotten a break. Bellew feeling the heat now.
Bellew's following it up like it was a knockdown, and it's led to some success for him.
He's decided it was. But he's going to risk a little bit by following up there because Stevenson gets a chance to throw back. Some of that back foot counterpunching that Bellew was talking about.
They were both taking real risks there. Big light heavyweights, punchers, in a wild exchange.
Yeah, they both did take some real risks there. I think Stevenson got the better of the risk, but Bellew should have kept coming forward because he was doing much better when he was attacking Stevenson just now. Now he's letting Stevenson do all the attacking again.
Stevenson landing straight left again, driving Bellew back into the corner.
Yeah, when Stevenson attacks, it's just a matter of time before he lands.
There, Bellew punches back, but he's too slow, and Stevenson's able to get out of the way.
Stevenson dropping his hands, as he did throughout the fight against Cloud, inviting the opponent to throw.
Keep moving your head, keep moving your head.
Bellew almost lost his balance there. It's been a fascinating round 4. Tony Bellew had a big moment when Adonis Stevenson was on the canvas. Referee Michael Griffin ruled it a slip, and since that time, Stevenson landed some very big left hands. Immediately following tonight's live boxing, stay tuned for Real Sports, featuring a look at the wild world of live animal mascots and their role in collegiate sports programs. What do you suppose that is, Roy, the LSU Bengal Tiger?
Control the breathing. There you go, just control it.
Here you see the referee make a good call. The feet got tangled up on the hook right there. I thought the hook to the back of the head, though, would have caused a knockdown. I think Jim should ask Steve Weisfeld what the ruling is on that.
As soon as the round begins, I'll ask Steve Weisfeld what the ruling was on that. Here we go. Steve Weisfeld, what was the ruling?
Mike said it was a slip, and it appeared to me that the punch was a little bit behind the ear. So I think it was on the back of the head, and I think it was a correct call.
Right, it wasn't a scoring blow, but it could be a discombobulating blow, and it lands.
It sure can now.
I saw their feet hooked against each other, and that to me convinced me it was a slip. But only on the replay.
Whatever, it landed a pretty good
Left
round.
hand by Stevenson to open round 5. He is so accurate with that big left hand. Lands it on the button very frequently.
And it's so funny because his gloves look like they're 4 ounces bigger than Bellew's gloves.
Stevenson just revealed within the past 2 weeks that his father in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, died as the result of a fighting incident back when he was a child. He says his father was involved in a karate competition, got hit with a karate chop under the heart, and died as the result of that blow less than 2 weeks later. He's lived his entire life in the care of his mother.
You know, she must be a proud lady right now.
Left hand just short. Bellew is moving away. Now he's got him in a corner. Lands the left hand upstairs.
I don't know if Bellew's playing possum or what, but he's not throwing any punches. I don't know if something's hurt on him or what he's doing.
On the lead up to the fight, Bellew was talking as though he believes Stevenson is a front runner, that he's dangerous, that he's good, but that he might not be able to take it as well as he gives it, especially later in the fight. And so far, if that's part of a bigger strategy, Bellew's fighting that way. But if this is simply him doing the best he can, it's not going to be enough to win it, it doesn't look like.
No,
he's losing the rounds so far. And if you press the opponent into the late rounds, that's good. But if you've lost all the rounds before you get there, you don't have anything to build on.
But he is having moments like the one he just had, where he's landing 1s and 1-2s cleanly at times, making the sweat fly a little bit. And maybe that tests Stevenson if Bellew's still around as this fight goes on.
Sometimes it looks like he hit him just enough to piss Stevenson off.
Stevenson once again with his hands well below his waist, begging Bellew to throw so that he can counter back.
I called the fight Robbie Peden versus Nate Campbell. Nate did something similar in a fight he was winning and got knocked out.
Hey.
Not a bad idea to keep your hands up.
Can't talk about my
Lucien
favorites.
Boutte seated at ringside. Going to be against Jean Pascal, January 18. here on HBO. That fight will take place in their mutual hometown of Montreal. Stevenson also lives in Montreal. The winner of Butte Pascal looms as yet another possible opponent for Stevenson down the road, or for Kovalev down the road, depending on what happens in this fight. Butte's trying to bounce back from a beating at the hands of Carl Pratt last year.
Keep your defense nice and tidy, yeah? Yeah. Come on, deep.
All right, that's not working, man. Bang, bang, explode over to the side. Make him go there when you want him to.
The CompuBox numbers graphic you saw demonstrated that Stevenson has landed more punches in every round so far. And given that the fight is taking place on his home turf, that doesn't bode all that well for Bellew's strategy.
Part of Stevenson dropping his hands and taunting like that is because he's not able to create his own offense to the extent that he'd like, and he's a little frustrated. Sugar Hill in the corner was telling him what you're doing offensively isn't working. He wants him more explosive.
In case you've just joined us, in the preceding fight, Sergey Kovalev fought a fairly even first round with Ismail Salak, and then in the first 50 seconds of the second round, utterly destroyed Salak with two hard right hands and a left hook. Two knockdowns. From the second knockdown, it was abundantly clear that Salak would be unable to continue, and the referee stopped the fight. Kovalev's fourth short knockout victory of 2013. It's been a tremendous year.
Oh, good counter.
Excellent counter left by Adonis Stevenson, coming up and under.
Sugar Hill wants Stevenson to move Bellew where Stevenson wants him to be. He wants him to be more explosive and do things with more of a definitive plan.
Meaning to get ahead of Tony Bellew and not follow him around, so he can do that with the left hand. Punch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're all right?
Terry moved him where he wanted and exploded.
Ran him right into the left hand. That's what we want to do.
Keep him up. Stop.
Well, we told you about Bellew asking the referee, give me a chance, don't count me out early on. So now he's tasted the canvas, and he's going to get it stopped right here. That will do it. Bellew was defenseless against Stevenson's left hand, and that was a good stoppage because it saved him from serious damage.
It sure did.
Even though Bellew said, hey, let me get up, that was not a situation where he's stopping the fight because the fighter's on the floor. It's a situation where he's caught up in the corner, completely defenseless, getting punched in the face by a damaging puncher. Very good stoppage.
Mission accomplished, Superman. And the Knockout Express continues in the light heavyweight division.
What a division.
It has become Concussion City. Bellew slumping to the chair in his corner. Discouraged, disappointed, but devastated by Adonis Stevenson's left hand. Let's take another look at knockdown number one, Roy.
Yes, seized me. Made him go to the left side and caught him with that left hand, changed his direction, made Bellew move to his right so he could catch him with the left hand, and he caught him in a beautiful exchange. And the second one, he just backed him up, caught him with the left hand. He was pretty much out of his leg, slipped in, he's gone, he's laying on the ropes. He hit him with another left hand for good measures, and the referee jumped in just in time to stop it before he crushes his face.
Great look by the referee to realize that Bellew couldn't get his hands back up, and Stevenson was about to get free shots with the left hand, which could have done serious damage.
Exactly, because that really wasn't a hard shot, but he knew that Bellew was done, and I think he even pulled back just a little bit to give the ref a chance to come on and stop it.
So much for the intelligent ring generalship and the smart fight plan of Tony Bellew.
Well, we said he had a smart plan, we just didn't know, or a smart engine, we just didn't know if he had a good enough hub to put it in. Turns out he didn't.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on this KO.
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, at 1 minute, 50 seconds, round number 6. Referee calls a halt to the contest. The winner by TKO victory, still the champion du monde, Adonis Superman Stevenson.
Celebration in Quebec City as Montreal's Adonis Stevenson accepts the adulation of the French-Canadian crowd. The Haitian-born Canadian star continues to polish his credentials as the lineal champion of the light heavyweight division, rapidly becoming the most exciting and competitive division in boxing, or one of them. Don't want to steal any thunder from the welterweights, but this is getting to be very exciting stuff. Adonis Stevenson landing 45 more punches, throwing 84 more punches, landing at a 33% connect percentage, but his game is to land power shots. Let's see if once again he landed more than 50% of his power punches. There it is, 54% of his power punches in the fight. He is devastatingly effective with the straight left hand, not bad with the right hook either. Tony Bellew, 30 out of 104. He had some moments. He landed some pretty good shots. He bothered Stevenson at times, but at the end of the day, no match for Stevenson's overwhelming punching power. And here's a look at where the punches landed. Bellew may have made a mistake in not throwing more body punches. Of course, he must have worried about being countered as the taller guy throwing body shots against the shorter Stevenson. Stevenson landed 35 body punches, none of them thunderous, but enough to get some of Bellew's attention downstairs and help to set up those big shots upstairs. 25 times at least he landed that straight left hand. Let's go to Max Kellerman in the ring with the champion.
Champ, congratulations. What did you just tell me a second ago?
He's a midget. He's a midget. I remember that. He's a midget.
This is what he was saying to you. That Bellew was doing a lot of talking on the lead up to this fight.
Yeah. He said, I'm a dwarf. The dwarf knocked him out, man.
He said you were a dwarf and the dwarf knocked him out.
Yeah, I told him when he's going to feel my power, I'm going to drop him up. But I know he's come here and he give him everything, you know. I know he's a #1 contender. And, you know, when you are #1 contender, I was in the situation, and I know he's come here and he give it all possible he want to take my title.
In the corner, before what turned out to be the final round, Sugar Hill told you what you're doing isn't exactly working. I want you to explode, and I want you to move him to where you want him to be.
Yeah, that's he told me, and I do it. After that, I move him when I want to see him. So I just move him. I cut the ring very well because he was moving a lot. So I just cut the ring, take my time, and give it a good shot.
This is quite a calendar year for you. You avenge your only professional defeat by knockout. You win the light heavyweight championship by knockout. You defend it against the Tavares Cloud by knockout, and now you knock out your mandatory, all in, you know, not many rounds. Where does this rank in terms of the satisfying fights you've had this year?
Yeah, I fight 4 times, and I knock everybody out the 1 year. I know now I need a vacation because, hey, I fight 4 times, and this is hard now, so I need a vacation now. Hey, Quebec City, what's up?
All right.